Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the late start. It's 5 after 6 on June the 5th for Payson City Council meeting. Thank you for being here. Looks like we have a lot of attendees, and it's always nice to see everybody out there and filling the seats. I've asked Ben Spencer if he would give us the opening prayer. Would you come on up, Ben? It's the last minute ask. Right there at that. Cool.
Read your name.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this beautiful summer day, and we're grateful for the opportunity to come together as a community and discuss our future and issues that we need to move forward as a community. And we ask that Thou might guide us and help this be a productive meeting. We ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Ben. Also ask John Martin, the owner of Payson Auto Works, to come up and give us the lead us in the pledge.
Audience, please rise. Repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Sean. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and go to B, the consent agenda. Approval of the May 14th, 2019 City Council work session. Also approval of the May 15th, 2019 City Council meeting with work session. Approval of the May 29th, 2019 special City Council meeting, an open forum. So do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, motions are made and been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll go to the petitions. C, petitions, the public forum. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone can speak on items that are not on the agenda. Time limit is 3 minutes if you can keep it to that. So we'll go to that point. If there's anyone that would like to talk to us about the subject that they hold dear to themselves and the city. Okay, not seeing anybody coming up, we'll go ahead and move on to staff reports. Urge any of the staff to come up and speak with us as well. Chief Spencer.
Mayor and Council, it's good to be here with you tonight. Just to give you an update on our calls and things for last month. Stayed pretty busy. We had 55 fire calls and 158 medical calls. So for the fire, we have so far year to date 152 fire calls, and sorry, my eyes aren't there. Almost 760 medical calls. So crews are staying busy, and it's getting difficult. And the unique call we had, I just want to mention, we had a structure fire call in the county. As the crews arrived, it was not the home but an outbuilding. But the unique thing to it is, I don't know if you remember Emergency or Squad 51 on TV. So Mike Stoker, who's the engineer that always drove the engine on the show, he's a captain with LA Fire. He's retired, but it was his son's home, and he happened to be passing through to visit his son, so the crews around there got to visit with him. So kind of a unique thing. So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Any other staff would like to come up and speak with us? Okay, if not, we'll go ahead and move to council.
I'll start down like this.
Start on that end.
I was waiting for a little direction there, Mayor. So I had the opportunity, I went down and watched the Utah State tree climbing competition. And it was quite exciting. It was a lot of fun to watch and different things. My kids even got to climb a few trees here and there. it was a good experience. It's good to have our park highlighted like that. They came in prior to it and cleaned up the trees so that they could climb them properly, and I think it really just kind of made everything look nice. Swung by and looked at the pickleball courts. They're coming along greatly, and excited about those. The stream I think looks great. They rerouted the stream a little bit and kind of beautified it up there, made it a little bit more appealing. And go up there and listen to the water babble over, kind of like I am. So, but anyway, thanks to our firefighters. They're all right here. I appreciate them and the services that they've provided. I've even had to have some of them help me out recently, and I appreciate that. And they're here with us, so I thought I'd take that chance to thank them in person. So, thank you.
I'd just like to thank the firefighters too, and we have 3 of them retiring today between them. 151 years of service. That's just... Anyway, thank you very much.
You'll have to excuse my voice. I lost it. I don't know where it went. Dave's happy. I too went down to the park and both days and witnessed the tree climbing, and it was so fun. I had an interesting thing happen too. I was talking to Miss Payson in the park, and one of the tree climbers, one of the gentlemen that was competing, came up to us and he said, "I can't tell you how much this means to all of us." And I said, "What? That you're here in this beautiful park?" And he said, "Well, that. But we've never had a queen come out and be with us." And so I thought that was pretty special that Janine had her come, and she visited with some of them, and so that was neat. I want to thank the cemetery crew also for how beautiful the cemetery looked for Memorial Day, and thank them for all of their efforts. And also, I want to thank the firemen that are being honored tonight and all the rest of you. I think they might hit me for this, but I think when I was little, they were the firemen. So, maybe not Jim, but Joe for sure. And Don. But anyway, we so appreciate them and all that they do. So thank you.
Yes, I'd just like to chime in about the firefighters as well. We've had an extremely good tradition of firefighters here in Payson, and very honored to have them respond to our homes. God forbid that we need them, but they're ready, willing, and able to come and do that. Fire service is close to my heart as well. So thank you so very much. Also, one thing I'd like to mention, I was honored to go back with our Payson Corral to New York this past week or so ago, and it was what an honor for our corral to be honored by being asked to come back to New York and to sing at the Carnegie Hall. It was really wonderful to see that. We had, I think, 65 members that were back there that sang, and they were augmented by 2 other choirs from New Jersey. But there were a total of 3 different performances. They performed one of them, and then there were 2 more. But what an honor for Mr. Dahlquist and the chorale. So kudos to them.
Okay, everybody's been thanked. So I want to thank you guys for coming and supporting the people that you're here to support. I like to see this. I wish we saw more of this. Anyway, and I want to thank Jill. Thank you for answering all of my questions. And Dave, thank you for letting me just come in and talk to you about things. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Linda.
I'm sorry, I have one more thing. mentioned to you a while ago when we talked about the pickle courts that I was going to take pickleball classes. And I had my first one yesterday in Spanish Fork at the pickleball courts. So by the time ours opens, I will be prepared for anybody that wants to play.
Be careful and don't trip and fall. We've already had somebody over Spanish Fork that tripped and fell and hurt themselves. One last thing for me, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to what's been said about the arborists that came for the tree climbing contest, a benefit to the city is they actually took 8 of those trees, and 8 or 9 of them, and trimmed them the way that arborists should trim a tree. So that was very, very nice for them to do that for us. Okay, we'll go on to, doesn't look like we have any scouts. Do we have any scouts? I can't see any. If there are some scouts, would certainly love to honor you and get you a certificate. Doesn't look like there are any, but just wanted to make sure we didn't ignore you. Also, we'll go ahead and turn some time over to Ty with the Chamber of Business of the Month. Ty, and if you would, Ty, and I spoke to Sean, I attended a BNI meeting today. I was very impressed with it. I asked them to maybe explain that a little bit to us. I think it's very good things going on.
Sure. So just so you're aware, the BNI that we're asked to talk about is completely separate from the chamber, but glad to explain a little bit about it. So BNI stands for Business Networking International. There are different chapters around the world, and we have one here in Payson. We have already broken records by how fast we've grown as a chapter, by how much business we're exchanging. So I'm going to turn some time over to Sean and let him explain kind of what BNI does.
Thanks, Ty. Thanks, Mayor, City Council. As Ty mentioned, it's Business Networking International. It's all over the world. There's chapters, and a lot of people didn't think Little Payson could have their own chapter of BNI, but as Ty said, we've been growing like wildfire. Sorry, firefighters. But it's been great to see. Councilwoman Hyatt attended our launch event last week, and Mayor Wright attended this week, and we're glad to have them. It's just an opportunity for business owners. If you own a business and you rely on referrals to grow your business, it's a great medium, a great way to receive referrals here locally and just help businesses here in Payson. So that's what we do. Appreciate your time.
Well, and I explained when I was there today that, that's the lifeblood of any city. We need a real vibrant retail base, that we're appreciative of your efforts there.
So let's move on. Before I get to Chamber of Business, is it all right if I kind of give a historic downtown report to you guys? So I started a nonprofit organization for historic downtown Payson. We've been coordinating with the city and trying to help that area. I know recently we've had some leaks that have been discovered. Dave Tuckett was kind enough to walk me through what was going on, and after those get resolved, we'd like to coordinate with the city and set up another cleaning event. We've had some reports about how dirty that breezeway is and how people are not liking it, but I said, well, it's been storming and now it's just starting to get the sunshine, and we'll get that cleaned up. And so anyway, yeah, just a little report there for historic downtown. But the reason I'm here is the president of the Chamber of Commerce right now. So we are here to recognize our business of the month, which the members voted. But before that, just to update you on what the Chamber's doing, we partnered with a company in LA, and we are able to offer a 9-day trip to China at a discounted rate. That will include a bunch of tours, international airfare. If anyone's interested, our executive director will be giving a presentation tomorrow at the Senior Citizen Center, 12:15 p.m. But feel free to stop by the chamber offices if you have questions or you know, you have retired parents and they need to go have some fun, you know, or you're trying to get them out of your hair, whichever. But anyway, it's a great fundraiser opportunity for the chamber as well. So we'd appreciate any support that way. But we're here to recognize a great business that has done a lot for the south end of the county here. They are located in Santaquin. Our chamber encompasses the Payson Santaquin area. They've done a lot. They're always willing to serve, and I believe that's why our members voted them June's Business of the Month. That's Stringham's true value, and we'd like them to come up and say a few words if they would.
Well, thank you, Ty, and thank you to the chamber. I appreciate this honor, but also thank you, the council and mayor. Appreciate you and all that you do. We enjoyed being in this community for quite a while now, and it's been a great blessing to us. I guess I thank Payson a lot for my roots in retail. I started with Doug Holt back in, '77, I think it was, and so it's been a lot of blessing to me and to get my feet wet in retail, and I enjoyed it ever since and serving people. So, but we thank all that you do to serve us too.
Picture, all right.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you, Ty. Then we move to number 5, the Committees of Care, Mayor's Team Individual Recognition. I became aware of Cassie Neal. Is Cassie here tonight? Okay, Cassie. We'd like to have you come forward and recognize you.
Would you do me a favor, Cassie? Can you tell us, she's finished second in state in homemaking. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I was a part of FCCLA at the high school, and I finished second place in fashion construction in Star event. So, yeah.
Where are you going from now?
So nationals will be at the end of this month, and we'll be going to Anaheim, California to compete.
This your teacher, right?
Yes.
Wow. Could you explain a little bit about this?
I'd love to. FCCLA stands for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. And Cassie has really focused on the career aspect of that. She has a passion for design, and she's going to go a long way. I know she is. Besides this, she won second in place in a Salt Lake Community College contest that was going on. But she's just really on the road to success, and I just want to wish her good luck, and I'm sure she'll do well at nationals.
Yeah, we still got.
Hey, Rebecca, come on up. You just stand by the mayor if you would. Okay, we nominated Rebecca because Rebecca's actually been involved with the city for, I'm thinking, the last 3 years. First as on our youth city council and as our mayor, and now on our youth court. And I reached out to Salem High School and asked them to do a write-up on her. And so they asked Doug Welton, who's one of our city councilmen, to do that because he happens to be one of her advisors. And he's not here tonight, but he texted me what he wrote, and so I want to read that. It says, "It's with great pleasure that I introduce Rebecca Knapp for the Youth Mayor Award. Rebecca's time in the Youth City Council has closely mirrored my time in council. I've watched Rebecca grow into a strong and confident young woman. She is reliable, able, and willing to serve. She has been a constant in the city and has helped not only as the youth mayor, but also as an intern and on our youth court. She loves talking water. She can tell you all about it," he said with a grin. And Rebecca is also the salutatorian of Salem High School and has served as captain of the award-winning Salem Hills debate team. Rebecca was highly successful in every event she competed in and led us to our 10th straight region title this last year. Rebecca will also be the first student to represent us at nationals 3 consecutive years. On a larger scale, Rebecca is in a founding group of students that has created a group called Project 320, which is an effort to get youth engaged in government through registration efforts, meet the candidate nights, and meet and greet with elected officials. However, Rebecca's most impressive traits are her ability and willingness to reach out to others, extend a hand of friendship. As busy as Rebecca is, she is very aware and concerned of others' well-being. She's authentic and motivated and will change the world. And I certainly agree with that. I have enjoyed getting to know her and being with her the last 3 years. She's been on our youth court. She is kind and considerate and thoughtful, and has served as a judge on youth court many times, and I super appreciate her. So we have a little card for her and a certificate from the mayor and a backpack. So I expect Rebecca to be our mayor or like governor.
Not for a while, not for a while.
She's got a few years, but thank you, Rebecca.
We have another one that we are going to recognize next council on the 19th. Jean Thomas, Payson High School Teacher of the Year. You see her name maybe on the program agenda, but she was not able to be here, but she will be here the 19th. So we'll move on to number 6, recognition of EMS Skills Award. Chief Scott Spencer.
Mayor, just to start off with this award, it's unique as we send our people to training. A lot of times you just go sit in class and listen to lecture and that's it. But with the training we do with this group, they do lectures, but also there's classes where there's hands-on activities and things in different scenarios. And so with these skills that they had to do, trauma, a medical scenario, and different things. The 3 of these took place, or first place, in this competition. So we have Dustin Orr, Ben Spencer, and Linda Peterson. And so I thought we'd like to recognize them for their skills and ability. And we invited Linda, even though she's our neighbor, right? Know her. But we're glad to have her. We work with Linda as well in the ERs. We take patients in. So I wanted to have them come up, and this trophy is as tall as they are. So come on up. I'm not sure which one of them want to take the mic and explain exactly what they did, but it's one of them. So it looks like it might be Dustin.
So like you said, it was a three-part competition. A medical scenario, which was a seizure, and then a trauma scenario, which was a guy that fell off the balcony, medical fracture, and then a cardiac scenario with CPR and rhythms, medications.
Don't be bashful.
Oh, come on, you're not bashful.
Anyway, so we want to recognize them for their skills and abilities on that. That makes us look good as well, but we have some great medical professionals in our department, so we're glad to have them. So, thank you. Okay, shake all the hands.
Okay, Chief, you're still up again.
Okay, so, Mayor, Council, if it's okay, I thought we'd just do one at a time, introduce them up,
You
come
bet.
up and give a speech. I'm sure they have a lot to tell. All the years of wisdom. And then after you do all three, I thought we could just, at that point, take a picture with you, if that's okay.
So this first one, and I want you to know these are all great men that have served this community for a lot of years, given their heart and soul and made the department what it is today. With all the years of service they've given, I can tell you that they've served longer than I've been alive. So I'm not as old as those years of service, right? But it's amazing what they've done. So I don't know that I'll be able to even get close to what they've done. So we'll start off with Chief McCoy. So Dean served the department for 56 years. Dean served as a chief, assistant chief, as a steward who oversees and takes care of equipment and vehicles. Dean also retired from Dugway Proving Ground as a full-time government firefighter. Dean is the son of Don and Gertrude McCoy, who ran the Western Auto Store in Payson, so I think most of you may remember that. You're all young enough. Dean has spent countless hours at the fire station rebuilding, repairing fire trucks and the equipment on them. You could usually see Dean at the fire station every day working on something. If something broke, Dean worked tirelessly to get it back into service. So if it took all day, all night, he was there till it was done and back in service. Dean loved volunteering for the fire department and serving the community. There are several fires that stand out to him during his years of service, such as the Pickering Fire, Lucky Pickering store. All the fires in West Mountains, and many people remember that West Mountain used to have trees all the way through it and around it, so it didn't used to burn like it does now. Also the furniture store on Utah Avenue there as well. Dean and his wife Maxine have enjoyed the time they spent in the fire department and the Lady Firemen's Association. The fire department has been a big part of his life and something that Dean will really miss. And with all of these, as they retire, we still want them to be part of our department and to come help out wherever they can. If nothing else, just stop by and say hello as we're on calls and things. So we want continued association with them, but we wanted to present Dean with the plaque for his 56 years of service. So come on up, Dean. And Dean didn't want anything done. There you go. Both smiles for some pictures.
Fractures. Hey, look over here. Okay, I know you don't want to say anything, but do you mind saying a few words?
Nothing like putting you on the spot, huh?
Well, we said a few words, so that's all I'll say. I've enjoyed my years of service with the Payson City Fire Department, and I miss it. And I have a pager at home, and when it goes off, I have to stop and think for a few minutes. But hey, you don't go. So that's a big change, and I've enjoyed working with Scott and all the guys in the department, and I just appreciate having the opportunity to be in the department. Thank you.
You stay right up here. Okay, so our next one, Jim Mortensen. We want to recognize Jim. So Jim became a member of the fire department in 1969. He was the fire chief in 1973 and again in 1996. He served as the secretary of the fire department for 13 years. That's when the secretary helped do the budget and the payroll and wrote checks and drafted money from the city, and so it went through the secretary. So that took a lot of time to do. Also, with modern conveniences of central dispatch and beepers to summon the fire, there were 5 firefighters and the hospital had phones in their homes. The firemen and their wives took information from the callers and then could sound the alarm from the residents. Jim was one of those firemen. The first fireman to the station would answer the phone and write on the chalkboard where the fire was so other firemen could respond. And it's amazing how times have changed. So there was no pagers, it was just a siren, and they'd call the number and it'd ring in those homes, and hopefully in those 5 homes somebody was home to answer. And then as they talked and got the information, they could set the siren off, and then whoever got there first would write the information on the board. So you didn't know what call you're getting, whether it was a vehicle accident, a grass fire, structure fire. It just, you had to hustle every time. So amazing. Some of the biggest fires Jim's time were the boat plant fire, Payson furniture fire, the downtown Spanish Fork fire with 2 businesses destroyed, and West Mountain on fire several times. There were 3 flame crashes where firemen put out the flames and protected the environment. The residents' fires were the most difficult because of the homes being badly burned and the residents deceased. Jim loved his time on the department because of the help rendered in a time of need. This is a great camaraderie with others on the force. In this line of duty, he appreciated and experienced that another fireman was willing to risk danger to save him when in need. There was always fun times at conventions, summer and Christmas parties. We could count on a fire alarm going off during family dinners, church, and just as we were leaving town on vacation. Jim was especially pleased with when his sons Blake and Joel were able to join him in the department. He served 50 years and retired the month of his 75th birthday. Jim comments, "Where else can you go in a big red truck with sirens blowing and a horn honking? It's been a good ride." So, would like to recognize Jim Mortensen for his years of service. If you don't mind, keep sharing a few words. We'll step out of your way.
not supposed to talk about everything that goes on at the fire department, but it has been a great ride. Appreciate all the support of my family. Appreciate all those in the community and the support of our city. It has been great, and I would like to thank the next to receive the award. Excuse me. He's the one that pulled me out of the fire and helped me. Thank you.
You know, this is most of my daytime help, and I've talked to them and told them they don't have to go, we can still use them, but they're pretty set, and amazing career that they've provided to the citizens of Payson. So the next one is Joe Bona. Joe Bona started as a volunteer firefighter in the city of Payson in 1974. He was voted in by his fellow firefighters as a chief in 1977 and again in 1978 and 1999. Joe also ran for and was voted in as a 5-year trustee serving the Utah State Firemen's Association. He has also held other volunteer seats in that organization, including law and legislative representative, vice president, and president of the association in 1993. He really loved serving in each of those various capacities over the years. Joe has many memorable times as a Payson firefighter, one when the Bedouin boat business burnt down, and also, of course, many horrific car accidents on I-15, which will never be forgotten. He also has fond memories of many Utah County fire departments, Payson, Provo, Spanish Fork, etc., coming together to compete in water polo, and yes, we even won a few times, I think most of the times, right? Joe loved volunteering for his community and loved serving as a firefighter for Payson City. He requests that anyone reading this would please remember to always wear your seatbelt. He has seen hundreds of lives saved by seatbelts. So, Joe. 45 years, a long time. I'm sure you don't have any in the state that would like to say something.
Well, I thank Scott for the recognition. Dan, you, Jim? Well, when I got in, we had a hell of a lot of fun. And it wasn't quite as technical as it is today. When we had a fire, it was the engineer run the truck, we'd bail out, grab a hose, boom, put the fire out. There wasn't any of this stand around. We didn't have uniform or turnouts, so we fought fire in our Levi's, suits. Guys that come from church, suit and tie, they'd get their ties off. I don't know how many suits and ties and dress shoes was ruined over the past few years, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun, a lot of crazy. We'd get back from the fires and somebody would squirt somebody and we'd have a hell of a firefight or a water fight. We'd have water clear through the station. But it's been fun. And I've enjoyed every minute. It was my lifetime dream. And thanks for Payson City for putting up with me and all my bullshit. I have embarrassed Payson City a time or two at conventions, so. But anyway, thanks so much.
before they come up and do the pictures with you, really, you can see what a camaraderie, family, pretty tight group. And like you mentioned, sometimes a hose may have gotten loose somewhere and got somebody. There was either a big water fight or the next time there was a payback, or not saying anything about rocks in boots or water in boots or anything like that as you run to your locker to put things on and you've got to dump the rocks out or the water out to go on a call. But these guys have really served, dedicate a lot of time. And probably one of the toughest things is, like I say, family events, Christmas, family parties, leaving on vacation. You just drop everything and went to the call, and your family got put on hold, or your family went and did things without you. But you can see that with these families, there's multiple generations of firefighters with each of these great men. It changes. It's difficult. As we go on calls now, we always want them to come back and say hi, but it's just not the same as we have these calls that they're not around all the time anymore. So things are changing a little bit, but they're always welcome. We love what they've done, and hopefully it's okay, but would like to make all their family firefighters for a day for all the things they put up with, missing all the events and stuff. So special recognition to all the family members, especially their wives. So thank you. Have them come up and take a picture with the mayor and council, if that'd be okay. We're going to, with the mayor and council. Yeah.
One of you hold me in a fire room, Harry? I think it would be most appropriate. He's looking at me like, don't they?
We might be able to drag it.
I think we did once.
Last month.
Joe, Jim.
We're going to wave instead of shake hands, you ran away. It wasn't a really thank you. No. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
And if you don't mind excuse us, we're going to go out and take a few pictures, if that's okay. All right.
I might mention that I've known these men all my life, and they've been my mentors in more ways than one. And so thank you so very much for your service. Okay, we'll move on in a few minutes. We'll let everybody.
But I'll have it go through again and I just don't. Yeah, that's fine. You in the corner? You're supposed to say, nobody puts baby in the corner. Clear out the room, huh? Just don't get your head on
Okay, I guess we can go ahead and start the next item, action items D. Resolution amendments to the Payson City fee schedule. Sarah, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to start off. Travis had quite a few fee changes, but he's not here and I don't understand them well enough, so I'm just going to do mine and then we can bring his back next time. Because if you ask me questions, I won't be able to explain why the changes he did. You can pass them. You can pass them as they were proposed in the pack, but I don't know if I did it right as I was reviewing some of his notes. He wanted some sections totally removed. So I need to go over with him. So I don't feel comfortable with those. Okay, so the first one is our wastewater rate. We are proposing to increase that in addition to the CPI $1 to help cover our bonding that we're gonna have to do for the west outfall line that collapsed. Here's our CPI rates. We've gone through these before. I don't know if you want me to go into detail, but it's about $1.85. So with the dollar rate in the sewer, it will be about a $2.85 to the average resident per month. And here's just where our average costs are. This is our water. So with our rate, we'd go up just slightly higher than average. Our wastewater costs, we're gonna go up quite a few steps, but this will change because there's quite a few cities that are increasing their sewer rates. Salem just increased theirs. So next year, I'm sure we'll be closer to average again. The storm cost, we're gonna just go up just a tiny bit. We're gonna go from 612 to 619. So we'll still stay in the same spot, still below average. Garbage can cost, we're gonna go up just a little bit, go up a couple slots to $1.77 from $1.54. And then here's where our utility rates, so Provo again does this study, so it's independent of me. I don't want anyone to think that I'm cooking the books or skewing the numbers in our favor, but we are the highest on the residential. We are not proposing to increase residential rates on electric. And they don't include SCSD, so I've got to somehow find a study that includes SCSD in that. But here's our commercial. We are more in the middle, and then industrial. We're not the highest, but we're right there. So we are proposing to increase the industrial and commercial by the CPI rate. So that's on the table for discussion. So I put this in just a column format instead of looking at the Word document with all the changes. I just wanted it to be more readily available. You can see that most of the rates are close to 2%. The recycling is going up. That is out of our control. That's from Republic. They just tell us how much they're increasing and then we pass it on. And those different rates, that's based on participation. And we're at the lowest participation rate, so that's why it's so high. And then storm, you can see all of these are 2%. The sewer, it increased more than 2 because of the dollar rate increase. And then here's our water. And here's the electric, the different commercial and industrial. So I looked at what it would do. I looked at our biggest user, and they weren't quite 1 million kilowatt hours per month. So I used 1 million, and it was $2,000 a month increase for them. And then Kim, these are her fees. I do feel comfortable with increasing or proposing these, but these are some changes that she has recommended on the development fees. Any questions on those?
Who's our highest power user? Can we ask that question?
I don't know. I don't think I should give out that information. If you can talk to me privately, I will.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Any questions on the development fees? Okay, so that's it. Those are the fees that I'm proposing that we increase, and then we'll bring back Travis's in 2 weeks when he's here to help explain those. Any discussion?
Could we go ahead and do a motion on this one, or do we have to wait for 2 weeks?
No, you can do a motion on this one.
Okay.
Mhm.
If there's no discussion, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the amendments to the Payson city fee schedule as presented by Sarah, and waiting for Travis's fees for another day.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, it's been seconded. Calls for roll call, starting with Councilwoman Hyatt.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, we'll go on to number 2. Public hearing, enterprise fund transfers. Sarah?
Okay, so in our budget, we transfer money from our enterprise funds to our general fund. We do 9% to the general fund from each of the enterprise funds. And I have to send out the notice. It goes in the utility bill. I don't know if each of you saw it in your utility bill in May. We also notice it on the public meeting notice website, so we try to put this information out. So we just need to give the public an opportunity to speak on these transfers if they have any questions or concerns or comments. And this did change a little bit from what I put out. Our solid waste, I increased it from 70,000 to 90,000 because it worked out that they did have enough to transfer 90. I always try to do 90,000 each year from the solid waste to the capital projects fund. So they happened, their budget ended up being a little bit better than what originally was proposed. So it's increased from 70 to 90, and then just, there's a couple $100 difference on the indirect service charges due to, like, we had someone taking insurance that normally was not taking insurance, so.
Okay, with that, then I'll entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we just opened the public hearing. Please step to the mic, state your name and address, and speak clearly. Try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. And just limit your comments to I agree or disagree with the previous information that we've been given. And please don't repeat new or state new information. Okay, not seeing anyone coming up, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been motioned and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any further council discussion?
Yeah, I have a question for you, Sarah, if you can go back. Sorry.
Nope, you're good. Yes.
So on wastewater, I know we're trying to beef up our funds for that, so we're taking, I can see the indirect services because, yeah, well, that makes sense, but what's the 229, what's that?
That's the 9%. That's the 9% that we do from the enterprise funds to help with the general fund to keep property taxes low.
Okay, so everything's 9% on the left-hand side, and the other side is,
Based on usage, based on our cost drivers.
okay.
Mhm.
And so you just figure out what the cost drivers are?
Yep.
Okay, great,
Mhm.
thanks.
Mhm.
Any other discussion? Okay, then we're ready for a motion.
I don't think you need a motion on this. This is just an opportunity for the public to speak.
Oh. It shows that I needed a motion, so.
It's already closed the public hearing, so, you're
I don't
not.
think there's a resolution for this one because it's part of the budget. No, because it's part of the, it's all
Okay.
part of the budget. So when you, if you approve the budget, those
Okay.
transfers are in
Then we can just
Unless
forego
I'm
that.
wrong, am I wrong, Mark?
And the budget's on this agenda, so that works.
Now, what happens if we do a truth and taxation? We will not be approving the budget today, right?
You can approve it as proposed today because there is some minor changes. And then we can operate off of this budget until we do the truth and taxation. Because the truth and taxation, basically, I can balance the budget if I take out $80,000 for our phone system. So we can put the budget in so people can operate as of July 1, and then when you do the truth in taxation in August, then we can have that $80,000 phone system contingent upon that.
But wouldn't it still be just a preliminary budget? Still
Yes,
through the
yep,
taxation?
it's still not a final. Yes,
Yeah,
you are
that's-
correct.
It's different than the preliminary we adopted a couple months ago.
Yes, correct. Okay, so real quick, we'll just go through a couple of highlights. So here's the differences from what you have already adopted. The reason it's different is the park tax projects. I had to go back and allocate those since we didn't know what those were when we first adopted those. So that's what most of the changes are from. And then solid waste, I had in there to pay off the compactor in next year, but we would like to pay it off in this current budget. So we will be bringing that to you as a budget amendment in 2 weeks, so we can get that compactor paid off in this budget year. So that's why there's a huge difference right there. And then some of the other little ones, it's once again those indirect service costs. People get on insurance or little things, and it flows through to the different departments, so they have different changes on there. So just a few minor changes. Any questions on those? Okay, I'll just try to go quick since we've already gone over this. Here's our new personnel that we've approved. We have the school resource officer, 3 police officers for the hospital. The hospital will help cover most of that cost. A small engine mechanic, a park foreman. We have Mark Highland who's retiring, so we're gonna make his position a park foreman. Actually, we had Blair retire, we're gonna create his position, I think, as a park superintendent, and then a golf green superintendent. So it's not gonna affect the budget, because with Mark retiring and Blair retiring, it gave us an opportunity to break those out and maybe not have someone like Mark who's spread so thin, trying to do so much. So we'll have a golf superintendent and a park superintendent.
And we went over that before.
Yep, we've gone over that before. We have a athletic field position that was part-time that we have approved to make it full-time. We've approved a full-time recorder, and then the solid waste equipment operator, that's for the shredder, to operate the shredder, to help with waste reduction. Okay, so right now, our fund balance, we had to use $53,000 to balance, and that was for the website, the trail at Barnett School, and then the coil replacements here at the city offices. And then we included $80,000, so I'm not balanced, I don't have a balanced budget. If I took out that $80,000, I'd balance. So our phone system is pretty old and antiquated, so we felt like that would be a good project to get done if you guys do a truth in taxation. So if you decide not to do a truth in taxation, I'll take out that $80,000 for the phone system. Our sales tax is doing great. Property tax is up about 4% than what we had budgeted. Our inspection fees have increased. We've included $25,000 for lobbyists, $15,000 for the golf tournament, and $10,000 for a public information officer. That's going to be, hopefully we can get an intern or something to help us with that from UVU, BYU, one of the colleges. Here's the budget highlights. You can see up there, the general fund is negative $54,000. But if we were to take out the $80,000 phone system, like I said, we'd balance. So overall, we're balancing. Here's the different expenses. You can see the general fund has about $13 million. Electric is the next biggest with $12 million. Here's how the operations are broken down by the different types of expenses. Operating personnel are highest in capital expenditures.
Do you have any idea what ours is debt service is 5.4%, which is a lot better than national, but do you have any idea what the other cities are about?
On the debt service?
For debt service?
I don't. I've asked Jonathan Ward to help me figure out where we at, and it's a loaded question. So because you have to take into consideration the size of your city and your growth, are we growing, and right now we're in a growth phase, so yeah. But when I went to S&P, they were complimentary on how low our debt was.
That's right. When we went down to San Francisco, they were very complimentary.
Yeah.
We're not up to the average of most cities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think I can't answer that, but I know we're low on the we're on the lower end. But I can find that out for you and get back to you. So, well, like we've discussed before, we changed some of the health insurance. We've reduced the medical stipend, and then we made, we kept the health insurance premiums the same. Here's some of our projects: phone system, trails, the ball fields. We have $2 million allocated to that. That's to be continued. Who knows if that's going to be enough? From what I hear, it's probably not. So that will be something that we'll have to address later. Water, we're going to be installing the PI meters. I know Travis and Brent are working with Saratoga Springs so we can get contractors hired to get those installed. Lots of projects going on, which is good. Wastewater, the jet truck, that's one of the biggest purchases. It's needed a lot, right, Jeff? His jet truck will be a good asset for him. Solid waste, we're just, so that payoff of the compactor, we're gonna do that in this budget year. And then stormwater, we're gonna try to still keep saving money for the 800 West trunk line. Little by little, we're hoping to build some savings up so we can do something with that. Electric, Ron is working on the reconductor line. BNC Kent continually is trying to repair as much as he can with the limited budget. It's kind of difficult, but he does the best he can.
So Sarah, on the CDBG grant,
Yes.
do we decide that is gonna cost us more than that? So we gonna readdress that at some point in time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Typically, whenever you get grant money, they require Davis-Bacon wages and all these requirements that drive the cost up. So sometimes it costs more to go get this grant money than if we were to just do it on our own. So yeah, we need to take that into consideration whenever we apply for grants. Revolving loan, we've gone through this. We're doing great at replacing our fleet, getting it newer, so we're not spending so much on repairs. So the revolving loan has been great for the city. And the property tax rate, we still don't have the property tax rates. The assessors received an extension, so they have until June 8th to get it to the county, and then the county has 2 weeks from there to do their numbers and get it all in. So we may not have those numbers for a couple weeks still. I don't know why they have it set up that way, because it doesn't jive with the budget process. So I don't know why that hasn't been addressed legislatively, but maybe in the future will be. So right now our property tax revenue is about 1.29 million. So if you were to say, let's say we want to do a 10% increase, that would generate 129,000. If a taxpayer, we need to remember, people think, oh my heck, they're going to increase my property taxes, and my property tax is $2,000. When in reality, it's more like 11 to 12% is just the city portion. So we're talking $200 maybe on average, so that's more like a $20 increase annually. So when people hear that, it's not the full 2,000, it's just the city portion.
Yeah.
So if you get questions, just remind people of that.
One real quick question, going back to the CDBG. Now, the wages, they affect us when we hire someone to do that? We don't have to pay those wages for city workers, it's just the people we hire to do that? Is
The
that right?
contractor.
Contractors, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our property tax rate, we're down at the lower end. The average is 0.0018, and we're at 0.00127. So our property tax rates are pretty low, and we've every year kept the levy the same, which has been great. It keeps us, on an equal level and not getting behind. So the council's been great at doing that. And then here's when you do the utility rates and the property taxes together, we're just slightly below average. So we're not doing too bad. So some of the unfunded projects that we have that have been on our list forever, the parking lots, the library is a big issue. The city office parking lot, the golf course parking lot, the cemetery building needs to be remodeled terribly. Parks and trails, Mark was showing me some of the trails that have been covered in asphalt and trees are coming up, and some of our trails need some attention. So there's quite a few things that we could use the money for. I'm also sensitive to increasing people's property taxes and rates. I understand that things are tight and some people are living on a fixed income. So I'm sensitive to that, but I just wanted to give you everything so you can
But
make an
that's
educated
something that's
decision.
always going to be the case too, as time goes on, so.
Yeah, yeah. It really stinks. It feels like you get taxed to death, seems like anymore, so I totally get it. So your truth in taxation, we don't know our rate, but you guys can set a dollar amount, you can set a percentage amount, and our truth in taxation will be held on August 7th if you decide to do that. So if you want to say the maximum we want to do is 20%, that doesn't mean you're going to adopt a 20% increase, but if you say, I only want to do 10% and later you want to do 20, you can't. Whatever you set tonight, that's the maximum you can adopt on August 7th. So any questions?
No question.
Yes.
So in those superintendents, what will their wages come in at, since it's gonna, are they gonna be younger people or somebody that's already working there, that's already moved up to that position? It'll just get a little bit of raise, or are we going for, you know, someone that can be there for 20 years? So I guess I just need to know what the, you know, what is their pay scale compared to how long they're gonna be in their job?
I don't have that information. I'll let Melanie answer that.
We don't know who the position, you know, who the person will be that's selected. But as we go out, as Sarah indicated, we feel like the range will still be a very competitive range, very similar to where we're at with the outgoing wage, if you will. And so.
Well, so what I'm getting at is these people that have retired have 30, 35 years in. So if we're gonna hire somebody younger, they're not gonna have near that experience. So that's what I'm trying to get at is,
right,
how do we pay them? Because I personally don't feel they should come into that position of the person who just left it after they've been here for 30 years and they have all the knowledge that these people are not gonna have.
Right, that's a good point. In the job description, though, it will be, we've increased from a foreman to a superintendent position. So some of the requirements, we may be requiring a bachelor's degree or some experience in, you know, with budgeting and management skills. But you're right, we will look at that individual and see where they're at. If they're, you know, very new in the field, then we would start them at the beginning of the range. But if they have, we get somebody that has a good fit and they may be more to the mid or upper part of the range. It will depend on the candidates that are selected.
And we may have some in-house that would qualify that way, right?
But I just wanted to check.
No, that's a great question.
Okay, any further discussion? I believe this calls for a public hearing as well, so I'll entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made, it's been seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So again, I'll repeat the instructions. Step to the mic and state your name and address and speak clearly. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. And the fact that you either agree or disagree with the previous comments, and please don't repeat or state new information. So we'll open the public hearing. Okay, not seeing anyone that's going to take advantage of that, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any further council discussion? Guess we're ready for a motion.
Do we need to determine what our percentage will be on our taxes and taxation?
Yes, you do.
What would be Sarah's recommendation? Should we go for the 20% again? I know that we got a lot of backlash from the community over that. Personally, I'd rather hit it lower, 9, 10%, something like
So
that.
what are we gonna do with that money? I guess that's.
The problem is that we don't know when they adjust property taxes, it leaves us with a hole, and so we have to do this in order to fill that hole. We put the cart before the horse, so essentially it's to fill the gaps.
Well, and we're trying to catch up for 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we hate to do that because, I mean, I totally understand, but it's still, people haven't done it for 30 years. I mean, we have in the last couple of years. But
Last 4 years we've done that.
when you haven't done it for 30 years before that,
And
you gotta catch up somehow.
Yeah, and I might chime in here, you know, when the auditors have seen that we have done that for the time, they would like to see it every year to just keep up with it, and so it increases our rating as well, so it's a very healthy thing to do.
Yep.
Yeah, it really helps with our bond rating. And it's funny because I've been to some things where they've asked the audience, where city people were there, how many were doing this, truth and taxation, there's only like a couple people even raised their hands.
Right,
So it's a smart thing.
not a common thing.
The only thing I would say is if we feel like there might be a need to go more, that gives us the flexibility if we go to the 20%. I know it causes some consternation, but if we feel like, and once we see that picture, it would give us the flexibility to do more with less,
Right.
maybe.
Like you asked, what are we gonna do with that money? I mean, you have plenty of projects that you could allocate those funds to. So I mean, it's up to you. If you feel like the library parking lot is a need that we need to address, then you could increase it more to address those projects. We could always
What did we
find
raise it
projects.
last year? Was it 7?
Yeah, it was about 7%. And it brought in
And I think
about,
the problem was, is I just think 20 seems like a really big number. People look at their property taxes,
well, and they think it's the
2,300,
2,000.
yeah.
No matter how many times you tell them,
But
they,
we can explain that.
I want that little tiny .001
Yeah.
number that we use.
But
Nice thing about
there.
Nice thing about it, we've got 3 people to show up to our public hearing.
Yeah.
yeah,
When we
that's
said
true.
25% instead of 0. So
That's true.
But
Smart
if-
marketing, huh?
If we don't set it high enough, we do ourselves a disfavor because we don't have the flexibility we need.
But we still have to pay it as well, so.
Well, of course, but we did raise it 20. Yeah, it did cause a little bit of consternation, but it gives us the flexibility to go to maybe up another 7% and pay for what we need to pay.
The key to remember is we're setting a not to exceed amount tonight.
Yes.
And that we're not setting the rate tonight. And part of that is because we don't know our tax rate or tax numbers from the county yet.
Right.
And that we'll have to calculate. And then you asked what we would do with it. Sarah presented a list of projects that are unfunded, plus if we go below that, she presented those things that would be taken out of the mix. Right now, we're setting a not to exceed amount, and you have the authority to change that in November.
Well, I'm kind of just getting a feel for what number we want to put out there. Are we looking at 15%?
I'll tell you what my feeling is. I'm looking at 10%. And because I just like to keep the mill levy the same, because next year, we're gonna have all our studies done, and we're gonna be looking at a lot more projects, knowing what projects we need, so I'd like to just keep it a mill levy, and so I look at 10%.
Save a tax hike for when we can utilize it a little bit better.
When we have a
Show
plan
them
for it.
Yeah, fine.
We can utilize it anytime we want, but the plan is the key.
And I agree.
Okay.
So, we in favor of the 10%, let's put that in motion
I'm
then.
just looking at, I know the one thing I've heard the most is the trails. That's what I hear from everybody. And I think everybody would use the trails. I mean, there's like all the different things there, but it's, I don't know what that's gonna cost for those trails. I guess that would have to come.
The land that's up under it's the problem.
Well, part of it, we can use park tax money for trails instead of raising the property taxes.
Okay, are we ready for a motion then? That'll include that percentage?
You're going for 10?
I'll make a motion, so do we,
Yeah, we closed the public hearing.
we don't, it's still just, if we do the truth and taxation, we don't approve the budget, we do a preliminary budget, right?
Yeah, so this is just a preliminary budget.
So I make a motion, we approve the preliminary budget for the 2019-2020 with a truth and taxation hearing in August of the maximum 10%.
And there is a resolution that we're actually passing, so it is by the resolution for the 10th budget.
Okay, and the resolution, that's already there.
We've got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we've had a motion, it's been seconded, this calls for a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Christensen.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we'll go on to,
Quick question.
Okay.
So since you've approved the budget, we have people asking if they can post those jobs so we can get people hired. Are you comfortable with us posting those positions?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
okay, number 4, public hearing ordinance updates to the impact fee facilities plan and impact analysis for fire/EMS and police. Susie here?
There.
Hey, Susie. Thank you for being here.
That's what invites you. There's 4 more people. I'm walking away from it.
Put some slides up, but while Sarah's getting those up, I just want to thank the city. Your staff has been delightful to work with. Nestor especially has gathered so much information for us so promptly, and he's facilitated a great process. We have been able to consult with the city all through the process and meet with the home builders as part of these public safety impact fees. So we really appreciate that. So one thing, just a little bit of background. Impact fees, as you know, are one-time fees charged to new development to offset capital costs, only capital costs, not operating, associated with new development. And tonight, we're going to be specifically looking at public safety, which is going to include police and fire.
Perfect, okay. I don't remember it. Just here.
Perfect. Okay, let's start with police. So as you have both residential and non-residential growth, we'll have more demand on our police facilities. One way of measuring the increased demand is through the increased police calls for service. They really come from 3 major sources. They're either residential, they're non-residential within the city, or we have what we call pass-through calls, people who are just passing through Payson on their way to somewhere else. And we need to make sure that we do not include the facility costs associated with serving those pass-through calls in the impact fees. That's everybody's responsibility together to pay for, not just new development. So we can see here, while the total police calls are about over 17,000, when we look at just residential and non-residential, we'll go down to about 16,000, leaving out the pass-through calls. Did I talk too long on that one? I'll just be explaining a little while she brings this up. So we have these increased calls for service. It's a great way to measure the demand because we can then identify which calls come from residential and which from commercial, non-residential, so we can charge each appropriately. So that's why we usually use it as our basic metric. So we're going to look at 2 factors here when we look at police costs. We're going to look at the cost per a call for service, and then we're going to apply that cost per call to the number of calls that we generally see occurring in a residential unit or in non-residential development. So there's going to be 2 steps to this impact fee. So
You got you're mirrored backwards.
What's that?
You're on a display. So you.
I'm gonna go like this.
it did happen when I wasn't touching it. Perfect. Okay. And all I'm going to do now is hit it down run. Okay, good. So we're going to look at police level of service. So we're going to take 16,000 of those nearly 17,800 calls and say those are the ones that are attributable to Payson. And if we just look down here at the last couple of lines, we're also going to look at our police facility. And while we have a total of 10,300 square feet, we can really only count 9,270 with the star on the third to bottom line there as being attributable to demand from Payson. The rest is from that pass-through that I mentioned earlier. So then looking at the number of the total square feet, we'll divide it out proportionately, which of the square footage is attributable to residential demand and which to non-residential. And you can see that we come up with about 0.58 police building square feet per call. So then we're going to figure out the cost for a building square foot, the number of calls per residential units, and we'll get a fee. It's a kind of two-step process. Okay, so here we go. So Nestor did a great job. I mean, he really had to look to find, because the police building's old, the actual cost there. He was going through old file cabinets. This was not digital. He was great. So the building actual cost was about $783,000 way back when. So anyways, we've then said, what percent of the building is attributable to new development between 2018 and 2028, because we do not intend on building a new police facility before then. About 12%, so 12% of 783,000 is 93,000, divided by those increased calls that we're going to see, 2,460 in the next 10 years, and we come out with a cost per call. So we have $38 per call, but then we have to say how many calls did we get per residential unit and per non-residential development. We've added on, we can add in consultant costs, we get up to $39. So then we have 2.22 calls per residential unit times the $39 per call. The maximum impact fee that you could charge for police is $88.14. And then for non-residential, it's the same process. The maximum fee that you could charge per square foot would be 3 cents, okay? Or nearly $26 if you did it on 1,000.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So are we charging these people when is that what we're doing? You know, because you were a police officer.
For the, per call? No, we pay dispatch per call for that.
Okay.
But I think this is figuring the ratio for a building.
This is what it costs you for the capital facilities, and you can only use the police building itself. You can't use any rolling stock for police, any police vehicles. You can't use any jail, incarceration facilities. It's really just your police building. And it's been built with excess capacity to serve new development, so it's fair that new development pays back. This will be money into your general fund to pay back those of you who've come before and have paid for a bigger facility than you needed at the time, with the idea that it could serve new development in the future. So they're just paying, it's just new development's paying its fair share.
So the impact fee for public safety.
Yes, and this is the police part, and we'll do the fire in a minute. But that's exactly what we're doing. Fire will be a little bit different because we're looking at a new facility to build. This last slide on police, I just wanted to show you quickly what other communities are charging. This is just an average of those that were chosen. You can see from here that Payson is down here at the $88 near the bottom third, of the list, lower than average somewhat in terms of police. Let's move on and look at fire. Are there any, I'll give you a minute to look at there of any that you're particularly interested in. Some of these have been recently updated. Both Provost and Saratoga Springs have recently been redone. You'll often see them higher when they've been redone. Yours is not surprisingly lower here because you're not building anything new, and yours is so old that would make it lower. Your fire is going to be much higher on the list when we get to there. Okay, so fire is just really the same approach. I probably don't need to explain the total fire calls. You can see you have the same 3 categories. We've taken out the pass-through calls so that new development does not pay for any of those. It's spread amongst the community as a whole. Then again, we've looked here and we've said, okay, what is our current standard, our level of service that we're providing from the existing level of service? And we have about 5.1 building square feet per call at the present time. We are intending to build at least that much in the future, and so we can charge new development for new construction of a new facility, and what would it cost at 5.1 square feet per call. So assuming, as we've researched and talked to Nestor and those on your staff, the new fire facility, it looks like it will be constructed at a cost of $400 per square foot. And because we have no excess capacity, this is what we need to do. Now, we do have to build that. Fees have to be spent within 6 years after they're collected, so if you charge this fee with the new construction costs in here, you do need to build a new fire facility to start spending those impact fees within 6 years. So the new construction cost per call, we can include the consulting costs for the engineers for us. The total cost per call are $2,000. Looks really high, but then we don't have, I mean, how often do you call the fire department or EMS? You really have about 0.2 calls per unit, 0.197. You multiply that by the cost per call, and you come up with about $404 per residential unit. Non-residential, in addition to the building facility for fire, there are some vehicles that, if they have a cost of more than $500,000, they can be included in the calculation of the impact fee. So those have been added in as well. So there you have a cost of 44 cents per square foot, higher than the 3 cents on police, but you have the apparatus in there and a new facility. So here, the Payson proposed, you can see that you are on fire, you're closer to the top there at $404 for a single family dwelling. And let's look down again here and add them together on the final slide. So the total public safety fee would be $492 because you would have added together $88 and $404. That would be the maximum that you can charge. It's up to you to set your impact fee to any amount up to that amount. And the commercial again, or non-residential, it adds the police and fire together to get 46 cents. So that's
I have a question.
Yeah.
6 years to build that. What if we don't build that?
If you don't build a fire facility,
Yeah.
then you should have to refund. You cannot charge for a new facility. There has to be, the law states, a rational nexus between the fee charged and the benefit received. And so if they're charged for a new facility and don't receive it, in that case, you would have to be, if you're not going to build it, you would have to determine you're going to buy into the existing facility at its actual cost at the time it was constructed.
Put that into our
5-year plan.
Yes.
So we'll have the money to do it.
Yeah. Because all this money does just augment what we need.
So Susie, I have a quick question for you. What, in your calculation, because it didn't go through growth, but in your report it showed growth.
Yeah.
I think it was like 70, 80 residential housetops each year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna be growing a lot quicker than that. Does that make a difference or not? Or is it just to calculate on what percent of calls?
You know, it's not going to change your fee in this case, but it is going to change how quickly you reach capacity. But the existing level of service is based on what your population is now, and you have so many square feet, you know, per call. However, if we were to say, oh, it's going to have greater capacity, then the cost would go down because we have more people. I mean, the cost of the building is the size of the pie, and if we have more people buying in, then every person's share becomes smaller. But if you were to say, no, we'll just reach capacity sooner because we're growing faster, then the fee would change. I know that the population growth was a subject of real discussion on this, and I think it was felt by the city, and those who are involved aren't here right now, but that we have to really going between about 1.5 and 1.8% a year, which is higher than you've been seeing right recently, but not growing at the 5 or 6% that was originally shown. The
Yeah.
city had concerns it was too high.
Yeah, I think we what we have approved right now, or in the process of approving, is over 3,000 housetops.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be the 5 or 6% if everything goes and we don't have downturns. It'll be growing pretty quickly.
It was a topic of discussion. I know city staff had concerns that it was pretty high at that,
But it doesn't change anything really.
any other questions?
Okay, thank you
Thank you.
very much. Oh, I guess I have one more question, sorry. If you put those two together, because one's low and one's high, where do we average with the two of them together, you know?
Yeah, you know, you're coming back into closer to the middle of the list. And the list depends a little on who you put in there to compare with as well. You know, we just tried to grab some of the bigger cities around here in Utah County and Salt Lake County, along the Wasatch Front. And it depends on how recently they've updated their fees. for many of them. So considering you've just done yours, I don't think you're off the charts high with them both together.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I guess we're to the point, unless there's, we'll do a public hearing. Entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made, it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, again, step to the mic, state your name and address, speak clearly. Time limit is 3 minutes or less. Agree or disagree with what's been presented, and please don't repeat and state new information. So we'll open the public hearing.
Good evening, my name's Deanne Hewish. I'm with Utah Valley Home Builders Association. I reside in Orem, but I'm here a lot and I love coming to Payson. And I just wanted to start with tomorrow, Parade of Homes opens. There's 3 homes in Payson, home number 1, 2, and 3. And there's 40 homes total, so you're in a good position. So thank you for letting us come down here and have some homes entered. I agree with what Susie has presented. The Home Builders Association appreciates this long, arduous task. I think it's been like 15 months, so we're really excited about this. And yes, there was some questions you were asking about the 6-year period, and I just wanted to reiterate that impact fees are passed on to your homeowners, and so it does affect affordability. We're always looking at that, and there's just necessities. Sometimes you have to buy in and you have to provide utilities and services, and we understand that. But with the projects that are on there, I just wanted to read one thing. It has to do with proportionate share. Projects and costs are conceptual, and usually because they're projected out, as is your population growth and everything else that happens and how much it's going to cost to build that. And when the projects are being completed in the next 6 years, the city is obligated to compare estimated costs with real costs on impact fee eligible projects. And so as you're projecting out, some cities close to you here, when they look at it year by year, sometimes it goes down because some of the costs are happening. So with the public safety impact fee, I don't suspect that one would come down from what this one was, but we appreciate the time to see it and have it done completely and accurately. And we're feeling much better with this report than the previous one. So thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Deanne. Appreciate you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak with us during the public hearing? Okay, not seeing anyone, I'll accept a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, the motion's made, it's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Council discussion.
I have a question, Sarah. So when somebody builds a new house, what is our average impact fees for everything? Who would know that?
I can tell you the total of impact fees right now, including the connection fees, is just over 11,000.
How much?
The total new.
Dan has the numbers.
Oh.
Come on up, Dan. Please.
I was just gonna say a total new single-family home runs between 13 and 15,000.
Payson, your current ones right now, and this is based on, you have to understand, never apples to apples, but this is based on a $300,000 single-family home, including the lot, on a quarter acre, because it has to be a standard across, because none of them are the same. They don't calculate them the same. That's why it makes Zion's public finance and the home builder's job really hard, because nobody does it the same.
There's not an average.
There's not an average, there really isn't. So when they do those averages, we're going like, yeah, but, okay, so on that particular home, and that's including all of the impact fees, would be in Payson right now, $9,710. If you add in all your city fees and hookups, we've got you at $14,330, and that includes, the state fee that with your building permit and the 1% and all that. So we have you at $14,330.
You
Did you have some of the other cities? I'm guessing that's probably a little bit lower on the low end, isn't it, or not?
It's
I'm
kind of,
guessing
it's
more
kind of in an
16.
average. It's actually in an average. I'm just gonna pull up some here that's close to you. In Spanish Fork, and they always get angry at me because it includes their electricity. But theirs, on the same size of a home, would be 16,616. If you go up to Springville, it would be 16,000, oh, excuse me, Springville is 16,616. And Spanish Fork was 14,562. And that includes their electricity, which is at 2685. So you can take that out of there. So Spanish Fork's a little bit better bargain. Pleasant Grove, for everything, 14,312. So you're pretty much right in the average.
Thanks again. Any further council discussion? If not, ready for a motion?
So this is an ordinance then?
Yes.
So I move that we approve the ordinance to update the impact fees on physical plan and impact fees on the fire and EMS and police to the, I don't have the numbers up there anymore.
As presented.
As
Well, that's the
presented.
max, I meant we can do any number we want, so I just wanted to throw the numbers in there.
There's 88 for the police and 400 some odd.
Susie, do you remember what the numbers were?
The total is 492.20.
Do we need to separate them though?
No, you don't need to.
Okay, 492,
0.20 for residential and 1.46 per square foot for non-residential.
okay, what you said.
You just made the motion, Kim. Yeah, 492.20.
Yeah, 492.20.
Okay, we have a motion.
And that's per certain size house, right?
No.
No, that's just flat.
This flat. Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay. This calls for a roll call vote, starting with Councilwoman Hyatt.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Susie, for getting that done. That's been a long process for us.
Thank you for the chocolates I didn't share.
Not with me, you didn't.
I tried twice.
I know,
Pass it back.
I know, it's okay. Okay, Mark, I understand that this number 5 is going to be tabled, is that right?
That's correct. We're working with Salem to adjust a boundary. Their staff was on vacation last week, so we were optimistic by putting it on the agenda. We asked you to just table that until we bring it back. And we're both cities will be working to adjust the boundary. Just by way of brief explanation, it's the road that goes out to from Arrowhead Trail road, going out to the new Salem sewer facility and our Arrowhead Villages subdivision out there. And there's a road there, and it's just adjusting the road, the boundary to accommodate the road, so the road will be in Salem, and then it'll actually enter right in Payson, right corner. And we're both in agreement with this, working with their staff and making sure that the timing is the same all the way along.
So does it require a motion to table that or?
Yes, just to table it, and then we'll.
Okay, I'll accept a motion to table the item.
I'll make a motion that we table the resolution to change the municipal boundary adjustment between Payson City and Salem City.
Okay, motion has been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving to resolution, number 6, resolution amendment to the personnel policy holidays specifically. I guess, Melanie, you're up.
So we've done some additional research and are proposing to add one more holiday in the personnel policy, which would be Christmas Eve. which we tried this past season, and it seemed to work very well. Most entities, we currently have 9 holidays. The federal government provides 10, the federal does 10 and the state does 11. So we thought that would be consistent with what some of the other governmental entities are doing with regard to holidays.
Okay, any discussion? None, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion. Oh, excuse me. We accept the amendment to the personal policy on holidays and extend it to 9. 10, I mean, sorry. 10, I mean.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I guess it's a roll call vote, isn't it? We better do a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Christensen.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. On to number 7, resolution supporting biological upgrade to wastewater treatment plant. Mark, I guess you're going to do that for us.
Yes, we have on the plans the upgrade, and we had asked the state for an extension. They indicated they would agree if we would agree to the extension and ask us to give a supporting resolution, which is what we're doing, that it would be a biological upgrade to the Payson City municipal wastewater treatment plant, and that secures the direction of what type of plant, what type of upgrade it'll be.
So this doesn't require us to do a biological upgrade, it just makes it one of our options, so at the end of the study.
No,
it's
we
a
have-
feasibility.
At this point in time, we are heading that direction.
Right.
And this is indicating to the state that, yes, we are deciding to go that direction. I think all of our plans have been.
I'm in favor of it, and I know it's an affirmative thing, but the way you were wording it was that it was during a trial period, we're waiting to make sure that it's a feasibility study is my understanding, right? And so I just didn't know if it was gonna commit us to something they weren't guaranteed was gonna work, but it does work, right?
Well, what we're after is just biological. I mean, the other thing that they were talking about was the algae thing that we're not gonna go with right now. This is, so you have to do biologically, and then we'll add chemical at the end to get us down. But for us to get our variance, we said that we would do biologically, and that's what we was going to do anyways.
Okay, so are we not gonna do the algae farming thing that they talked about?
Probably not.
That's our understanding.
Probably not right now.
Okay. So that would be, any questions on that? We just need to pass that so we can proceed with our extension, and it goes till 20. I need to know.
Yeah, a couple more years.
2023.
2023.
23?
Yeah.
So is the reason we're not doing the algae, is that because it's way more expensive?
Well, they haven't got it down, I
They
mean,
don't have it.
yeah, not proven good enough where they're at, but other areas has been doing good, but we're still, it's too much money right now to say yes.
Isn't South Davis and North Davis using it?
Yeah.
So North
One
Davis
can
and
do
South
it.
Davis are using it. North Davis, it's working fine. South Davis, it's not. So there's just too much risk. So our consultant doesn't feel comfortable.
Basically, this doesn't preclude us from doing that, we're just making sure we're doing the biological. And we have the flexibility, should that present itself, we can do that as well.
In the future.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resolution to support biological upgrade to our wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, motion is made, it's been seconded, roll call vote starting with Councilman Christensen.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, number 8, I guess that is. No. Okay, a second. Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now in resolution to adopt fiscal year 2019 and 2020 redevelopment agency budget. Sarah?
Hey, this one's easy. This is just the Walgreens one. So 14,000 is what we put in there. We haven't hit 14,000 yet. It's more like 10 to 11,000 that we paid them back. But simple, straightforward.
Okay.
This one you can't approve as finance. It's property tax doesn't affect it.
And we're acting as directors right now, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
We have to have a public hearing in RDA for the budget.
Yeah. But you got one entity separate from the city council.
So do we need a motion?
Just one sec. What's that? We do need one?
Mark, it's not listed. Would it be covered in the other one, Mark? Or not? I would just open it under public hearing.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion for public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been a motion made in the second, roll call vote starting with Councilman Hyde.
Aye.
Okay, we are now in a public hearing. Please come to the mic. Step to the mic. State your name and address and speak clearly. 3 minutes time limit. Agree or disagree with the comments. Yeah, they did. Okay, not seeing anyone, I'll accept the motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? If not, the motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution to adopt the fiscal year 2019 to 2020 redevelopment agency budget.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote again, starting with Councilwoman Hyde.
Director.
Oh, the Director Hyde.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries. Number 2, resolution sale of property in the business park. Turn it over to you, Brian.
Okay, did everybody get a chance to look at this purchase contract? Okay. We could go into a closed session if they're getting a lot of discussion. If you want to, if not, then we can just do it here and just pass it, so. Yeah.
Yeah, not like anybody's heard listening.
I had a few questions on it, and so I reached out to Ross McClintock, and he said that, basically they're looking to do 20 to 25,000 square foot buildings. Looks like it might be a landscape company and or development company, so that's about as much as we know right now. I would like, for me personally, I'd like to do a addendum to, or not addendum, but a counter offer, putting in that they have to start building within 18 months. I just hate to have them want to just flip it or something like that. So I think we tried to do that on other ones, so that would be what I would suggest. Any other questions or anything?
We're good to do that, right?
You'll need to vote that is an adjustment, and then go, and then vote on the resolution to enter an agreement, and then we can, as staff, work with that adjustment.
Okay. So, a motion, or do we need a motion to do that, or?
Yes.
Okay. Accept a motion to put that requirement on, is that what we're doing?
Well, I'll just make a motion that we approve the real estate budget contract for the property and parcel 49887003 with a counter offer to include that they have to start building in 18 months, but approve the purchase price of the $404,019.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, it's been seconded, a roll call vote starting with Councilman Christensen. Oh, no, Director Christensen, sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn from redevelopment agency.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.